This is your girl, your enchantress, the Good Samaritan out here on these YouTube and IG streets. Coming today because I have a whole lot to say. I'm fortunate, guys. I'm going to tell you why. I'm just coming from a certain perspective. Talking about one thing in particular that has affected my whole life continuously, even up to now. And I foresee the future. The ability to control the masses. How easily it is to accomplish that. And who would want to do that? I don't know if you've listened to any of my prior videos, but my dad was a peculiar man. He was very progressive. And I always thought he was brilliant. But I felt like he put our family in the jeopardy of too much pressure that would cause it to break. And I just never understood how he could allow that to happen. And I often ask myself, was he purposely doing that? And if he was purposely doing it, what was his purpose for doing it? And what was he working with? That's just some of my thoughts. But anyway, so when I was a small child, not in school yet, my sister's 2 years, 9 months older than myself. So I'm going to say she was in first grade. So that would make her 6. So I had to be 3. Well, my mom was going to go and purchase her school supplies and her clothes. And my dad said that he wanted her to do something in specific when she purchased her school shoes. And he said he was going to ask her to do this because he was going to show her how doing exactly what he said, how it's going to affect people and how it's going to influence them to do the same thing. And it was going to influence them to do it over long periods of time. And so she was like, okay, I don't know why she agreed, but she did. And he began to instruct. He said, I want you to go and buy her tennis shoes. And back then, this was in the 60s, the late 60s. So everything when it came to genders was very clear. Male and female. Clothes were geared toward male and female. Shoes, the typical. It was very, very distinct lines between the two. Separation. And so he instructed her to buy her white tennis shoes, sneakers. And that when she went out and bought them, to buy the specific plain tennis shoe. But make sure that she went to the boys department and bought her boy sneakers. And my sister was upset. She was crying, saying that she didn't want to wear them, and she was protesting, and he was like, no, you're going to wear them. And my mom went and bought them, and I was like, I'll do it. And so she bought her 2 pair and then bought me a pair. And he said, I want you to let her wear them to school, 1 pair to school, and let her wear 1 pair when she goes out to play, and watch and see how people respond. So my mom did that. And first reaction I remember was my sister was ridiculed by the other children. And they were like, ooh, look at her. She has on boy shoes. And she was upset about that. She came home and she was upset, and she let my mom and dad know. But I promise you, after that incident, I didn't sit and think about it every day. I mean, I'm 3 years old. But I noticed as time went on, it went from people being shocked and disgusted. Then other people, one person in the neighborhood, parents bought their daughter the same type of sneakers. Then as the years went on, it was more and more people, and I would not lie to you guys. I lived in the same city until I was in my 20s. And I promise you, by the time I was 20 and I flashed back to that moment when he asked my mom to do it, I could see how that decision to have my sister wear those shoes affected a whole city. A whole city. And when those changes began to happen, and it was very profound, my mom was like, wow. And my dad say, see, I told you. He says, it's just that easy to control and manipulate what people do. And I will never forget that. So I'm sensitive to those types of energies when I'm being when someone's attempting to control me or manipulate me. And I don't always let people know that I'm aware. So it's no surprise to me that I look around and I could see on a mass scale how the population is manipulated. And it seems as if now it's so easy to discern. It's like so easy. And you look at these people and these characters playing out these scenarios, and they're people that's supposed to be in seats of authority, how should I say, esteem and power. And I'm looking like, you know what it feels like to me? You know, if you watch The Wizard of Oz and you remember how the wizard came off as this powerful wizard, and he was, affecting everyone in Oz. And one day the dog just decided to say, you know what, enough is enough. Went and pulled the curtain off once they got to where he was and they were wanting to meet with him, that the dog pulled the curtain back and it was just this diminutive little man spinning wheels, creating this scenario to look like he was grand. That's what it feels like I'm experiencing on a daily basis.